I'm Dr. Gina Ross, and I'm running for U.S. Senate for the state of Missouri. I'm good trouble because people are my first priority. I will stay true to all people as I stay true to myself. I'm unbossed, unbought, and unbiased, paving the way for change. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or go to my website, Ross4USSenate.com. We're better together, building a better tomorrow beginning today. Business as usual is no longer acceptable, and feel free to make a contribution. No dollar amount is too small. Thank you very much.
That'll be you, that'll be me, and that'll be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. I am beautiful, I am blessed, but not just what you see in the flesh. I'm free from people, free from myself. There's a liberty in Christ. I am.
Well, hello, and welcome. Welcome to an exciting time hanging out with Dr. Gina Ross. This fundraiser, we are here and we are going to listen and share and enjoy some time with a couple of young people. We're here enjoying the Flex Your Vote fundraiser. Flex Your Vote. The Ross for U.S. Senate 2022 campaign presents Flex Your Vote. Live, open forum. Go vote. All right. And we're going to welcome Miss Darielle Herring and Pastor G. All right, people, come on and let's hang out. Welcome.
Hey, guys.
Hello.
Hello. Good evening.
Okay, yes. We have Latasha Davis that's joined us. Lakeisha Brunson. Claudia the Great.
Yes.
Lisa Williams. Romy Rome. Daniel Gibson. People hanging out on the Facebook. Guys, tell us. What's going on? What is it about this voting that people should participate in and cast? What is it about voting that is important? Come on, Pastor G. Come on.
Sure.
Talk to us.
Voting is absolutely essential. It is what our forefathers died for. And we're at a point now where the country is making a crazy pivot, but we need to get back to the basics, get back to our foundation of why all of this started. Voting is necessary because it is your freedom, it is your voice, and we can't get anything done without the vote. And so I want to help encourage as many young people on here that will be watching tonight to get out and vote, because your vote is your voice, and it's time to flex your vote. It's time to flex your vote.
Your vote is your voice.
Yes.
You know, that's the statement. That is the statement, isn't it? Because look, we vote all different kinds of ways, don't we?
Sure.
How do we vote? We vote with our dollars.
Yep.
We vote with our dollars. Now, I just shared the link to the YouTube where you can watch the broadcast on YouTube on the Union Rog Hill Films 1 channel. And if you're wanting to go and share that link with someone that doesn't have the Facebook ability, go ahead and you can share that link, text that link to them, and they'll be able to watch the live stream on the YouTube channel, Union Rog Hill Films, the host for working with this campaign and making the fundraiser possible, this live stream. All right. So we vote all different kinds of ways, don't we? We vote with our dollars.
Yep.
Yeah, we vote with our dollars. What vote did you make with your dollar today, Miss Darielle Heron?
You said, what vote did I make with my dollar specifically today?
Yeah, yeah. What vote did you make with your dollar today?
Well, I did go to the grocery store today, and actually putting money into that, it matters because without our money, they wouldn't be in business. So
Mm,
I would say putting my money into different various brands is me putting my vote towards that.
hmm Now, we had talked about before we came on the broadcast too, how the local voting is important, right?
Most
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
So, yeah, voting locally, because when you voted with your dollar today, that local that local dollar had a tax on it. Mm. And there is a percentage of tax that you paid. Some of that tax went to the local area, some of it, state sales tax.
Yep.
Mm. And
Absolutely.
the voting makes those taxes possible. Okay. And the amount of the tax possible. Yeah. So when you take your dollars, not only are you voting, we want to encourage to vote small business, huh? Check out small businesses, not just the big box stores. Definitely check out black owned businesses, minority, women owned businesses. But then know that your vote matters. So when they have these local elections, go vote in them, because they're going to be talking about how much tax, how much money, more money, more money, more money
Right.
they want out of that dollar that you took and voted with,
Yep.
right? All right. So you went to the grocery store. Which one did you go to, girl?
The one around the corner. We have a Super One. We have a Shopper's Value. Just a few different options. Well, we
Sure.
don't have that many options, so I take what I can get around
All
here.
right. Well, and that's what's up. Okay. Now, uh, Sister Darielle, how old were you when you first voted?
I remember. I think I was
Don't ask
18,
me. Don't ask
19.
me. Don't ask.
I just remember the first time I voted was when I voted for my mom when she ran for Congress. So
Oh.
that was my first time voting. It was an
Oh.
early vote because I am in college, and I I'm from Missouri, but I live in Louisiana right now. And so before I headed back to college, I made sure that I put my ballot in. We went up to the election board office, and I voted for my mother, and then I also voted for who I wanted to be president, stuff like that. So I think I was 19.
Yeah,
Yes,
because you had to wait until the
yes, because
election.
I wasn't. Yeah,
You
I
weren't
was.
legal yet.
Mm-hmm.
But now
All right.
she's legal and she just turned 23.
Yes.
Okay. Super.
Mhm.
So, and when what you so you told us and shared with us when the first time it was that you voted, and you also shared why you voted. Mhm. Those are two
Yes.
cool questions. Pastor G, do you remember the first time you voted? How old you were?
I was 18. I was 18. 18 in Seattle, Washington. So I was all the way in the Northwest, voting for the first time. It was almost surreal, because, again, this is the first time, and I was not sure how the process worked and how many circles that I need to circle, and your circles had to be darkened. So all of that was a part of the process, but it was surreal. I often thought about the struggle of, again, our forefathers getting to the place where they could vote. I understood that in the beginning of all of this, black men were the first people to vote, and then women were able to vote later on. So just being able to be black and be a black man to be able to vote, was a liberating feeling.
Mhm.
Super 18. And the 18 is a age of adult and responsibility. That's the legal age of being an adult and responsible, with your actions.
For
That's
some
super
things.
cool. Yeah. All right. Tanya Davis, she applauds you, my brother.
That's his wife.
That's
Hey,
my
Lady
wife.
Tanya.
Hey,
Hey,
if the
wife.
spouse won't do it.
Hey, wife.
Yeah, that's a blessing. Thank you, Sister Pastor Tanya Davis, yeah, for that big applaud. And yeah, that that thought. Let's kind of go back because when we're thinking about the vote and the right to vote, the forefathers, and it wasn't that long ago,
Right.
actually. And then the 1965 Voting Rights Act brought everything into the right perspective, in that what it did was it took those states who lived under Jim Crow laws, who put poll taxes on the right to vote. You had to pay a tax. And so we're talking taxes again, the right to vote. People were poor. Why should I have to pay a tax just to vote in my country? Right? So poll taxes, and then you're talking about uh, reading, being able to read.
Mhm.
So there was reading parts that you had to read before you could vote. Mhm.
Yeah, that's just not
So
cool.
that was part of what the 1965 Voting Rights Act, what it actually accomplished, and it was presented by the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., right? And his committee, but then it was signed by President Lyndon Baines Johnson. Mhm. And believe it or not, guys, okay, believe it or not, those that voted for, see, you had the Senate, Congress, and Senate before it actually can get to the president to sign, right? The
Right.
majority of those that voted in the Congress, Senate were Republicans. They didn't have a problem with it. But some Democrats had a problem with it. Okay, now I'm going to stop right there, because when we go to vote, uh, does it matter that we vote Republican or Democrat? And this is not a trick question, it's just a question. Or does it matter that we vote candidate?
That's a great question. I think, well, let me say this. Everybody has switched out. Let me just be honest. The
Everybody has switched
Republicans,
out, my
the
brother.
Democrats, the Independents, everybody has switched out. So what you would normally vote for is not the same. You're going to find some fault in every candidate, every branch, you name it. I think it's at the point now where we need to vote our conscience.
That's what I always say. Hmm.
We need to vote our conscience, because with everyone switching out, one day they this, one day they feel this way, one minute they're like this. We need to just vote for what do we feel like is right. What is our conviction? And then
Okay.
vote on that. And if it doesn't line up with what's on the paper, then you're gonna have to do your best. But we
Okay.
need to vote. We need to vote our conscience and our conviction.
All
But what do
right.
you think about people that are so stuck with party because that's how they were raised? You were raised to be this
Sure.
or that, so you always have to raise this, or like you're going against your family.
Right.
How
You
would
have to
you get
vote.
someone like that to vote their conscience when they're so stuck in the way they were raised in
Sure.
tradition?
Well, one of the things I want to bring to the table tonight is information. I think once we have enough information about who we're voting for and why, we don't have to worry about being loyal to foolishness, because we have
Exactly.
information. And so, Mama always said that when you know better, you do better.
That's
And
right.
so, when we become an informed people, we can make informed decisions and have an informed outlook on life. And sometimes we can be loyal again to the wrong things. So, want to make sure that we are informed and educated and not making a emotional decision.
Mhm.
And Darielle, why do you think so many young people don't like to vote? I mean, some do, but then there's some that say they just won't vote at all. Why do you think a lot of young adults lost hope?
Well, I believe that young people, and then specifically targeting the Black community, I believe that they do not trust the system. So when you do not trust the system, it's kind of hard to put your trust in voting and feel like, oh, it's actually doing what it's supposed to do. I feel like it's a trust that is not there. And so people feel like that's not important. You know, it's a bigger problem. It's a bigger issue, and it's gonna take more than just little steps to actually get our community, get the young community to start voting. It's much deeper than just not wanting to vote. Some people just don't want to vote. Some people don't care about politics, but there are some people that are actually very passionate about the issues, the social injustices, taxes. There's a lot of people that are very passionate about it, but they just truly do not trust the system. So if you don't trust something, they're not gonna actually put their all or their effort into doing something they don't even believe in.
Mhm. Very good point.
That's good.
And here, uh, Tanya Davis says, good point, Dr. Gina. I think we should vote on the value of the need of social needs and who has the best solution.
Most
Yes, I
definitely.
definitely agree with that. And I definitely agree with Pastor G when he spoke on emotions. I feel like when it comes down to it, we need to be informed. I feel like information, knowledge is power. And we often let our emotions, our feelings get in the way of what's better for everybody else. Like this is some things you just gotta put to the side. Like one thing that's good for you might not be good for everybody. So it's kind of we got to put our emotions to the side. We got to put our own selfish wants to the side. Like it's a lot deeper than what we portray to be.
Hmm. Hmm. The point of trust, because we hear that a lot. Young people don't vote, or people, whether they're young or my age or whatever, older, they may not vote because they figure, well, it doesn't matter anyway, right? I don't trust what they're doing. But I think and what back to the education point of Pastor G, if we encourage and educate ourselves to know when city council in our local area, when they're meeting, go participate. If we're going to go, and no problem with people sitting in the movies or enjoying themselves in other venues, but if we can sacrifice and go to those places, then to be aware and go to the local assembly places of government where they make it public so that people are aware of what they're doing, so it's no surprise. Then you can be more comfortable about what's going on. I'm with Dr. Gina in that it does start local. Well, she kind of
And people
bounced
should
off
take
of that.
ownership. If people take ownership, then there's nothing that can't be done if everyone joins their forces together in
Hmm.
unity and take
Hmm.
that ownership of their community and demand, make people hear you. There's
Yeah,
Yeah.
power in our voice. There's power in oneness.
Yes.
power and oneness. So if it becomes cool or hip to hang out and kind of know, if it's cool and hip to hang out in the summertime in the park at Swope Park, right, with the car, the music blasting and all that, what can we do to encourage for it to be cool and hip for young people to go and walk up in the city hall of a place when they're having a meeting, to know what's going on locally, and then that builds trust, because then, like Pastor G says, you become knowledgeable about what's happening. Okay, you learn about what's happening, and that's what I like about these fundraisers, right? We're actually working to kind of educate about what's going on, and then bringing some solutions about how to make it better, because we're going to vote, guys. There will be an election where Dr. Gina Ross, the primary election is August the
It's
2nd.
August 2nd.
Yeah.
Yep, it's
So
August
it's
2nd.
on the ballot. You have an African American woman running in the state of Missouri who won a primary election for the congressional seat last time in the past couple of years, who's back running for a Senate seat, which is much higher, but still has a chance of winning the primary as well as winning the election itself to represent Missouri in the United States Senate. Okay.
And one thing about me is I will represent all people.
Hmm.
I'm not a biased person. You have to represent everybody.
You do. And that's what Dario was saying, was that, look, we're needing to, yes, okay, set aside selfish, but take a look too and see what is it that would be good for all, right? There's a
Right.
compromise too. There is a compromise. There is, okay, well, I'm really not so big on this issue, but like Pastor G says, look, this issue really is important. I need to vote my conscience. That's really important to me,
But
right?
what about the barriers that people have when someone is campaigning and they put their best representative out, but that's not who they truly are? They will tell you they're going to do this, that, and the other for you to get your vote.
Well,
But then when it comes down to it, they're not going to do it. Like some people tell me, you better
Politics.
just say whatever you need to say to get people to vote for you. No, that's not me. That's not how I operate. And it won't be. That's not
Hold that thought, Pastor G.
and that was Dario's question. The reason why young people don't vote is because they know that it is politics, and the word on the street is politics lie. Politicians lie.
what is it? Politics.
Yeah. So that's the reason why most young people don't vote. I was even told growing up in voting that just on the ballot, just go ahead and vote for all the black people.
Okay.
Don't worry about all the other. Just if they're black, just vote for them. And
I
what
know
found out
one black person who has been in everything he runs for, he wins, and hasn't done a darn thing.
So that I was literally taught that just vote for all of them. But there's different types of black people.
Oh,
if I can say that.
and so, I think you did, my brother, and that's all right.
So you need to be careful. You need to be careful. And this is why I say we got to vote our conscience and we got to be informed. The other reason is if the only time that we see our politicians is when it's time to vote, that's a problem.
Thank
Most
you.
Definitely.
That's
They got to come to what's the name of the park? What's the name of the park?
Swope Park.
Well, they got to come.
That's a good idea, huh? Campaign
fundraiser,
sis. Go out to Swope Park.
They got to make their face known, and we got to know at Swope Park what you're coming to do.
Exactly.
So it can't be because they come, Sunday morning to everybody's church when it's
Don't
time
they
to vote, but then the rest of the year we don't see them, we don't know who they are, and then when it's time to vote, we gotta. Did they come to our church? So we don't really know because they didn't spend enough time in our community. So we got to be educated, and again, we got to vote our conscience.
And they need to stay in church a little bit longer.
Yeah,
they tip out.
Tanya Davis says, excellent point, Dario. We have to restore integrity in our communities with our young people.
Because the young people are our future. I'm dependent on my daughter, and I'm dependent on your daughter tonight. I'm dependent on your daughter.
That is the way. That is the way of life. That's the way he set things up. The generation from generation to generation. So we can even go there. Whose responsibility is it to compel young people to learn and to educate young people in voting?
Well,
whose responsibility is it?
Responsibility. That is a big one, honestly. We can take ownership, but at the same time, I think it starts when we're younger. Because, like you said, we are not able to vote until we're 18. And so, of course, we learn in school what voting is. But I can, at least for myself, personal experience, they really don't go that much into depth on how it works. Yes, we talk about the electoral college and whatnot. But, sometimes we need a little more information. Like, it's kind of dense. And so maybe it starts at home, making sure that we're educated at a young age, so when it comes time that we are interested, but at the same time, if you want somebody's attention, you're going to have to work for it. And that comes with, being involved, outreach, how you have to study your people so you know how to captivate them, how to get them, how to take them in. And so they will be engaged. Like, it's not just going through the motions. Like, some people vote just to vote. That's just worse than voting, like not voting. So it's
if you don't know what you're voting for, yes, ma'am, I agree.
And so I feel like responsibility, it could be placed on both parties, both ends. It's your own responsibility. It's your right. It's your duty. Like, you could do whatever you want, but it is partly, it is your responsibility. If you want to vote, it's up to you to, try to get education on it. But at the same time, the people that really want, if they want your vote that bad, if they want you to vote that bad, they're going to do whatever it takes, so that you have no choice but to be educated, that you have no choice but to be interested.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that uh, the school system is not going to educate a young person enough to be intellectually ready to vote. And
And
so
listen,
it has to go home. It has to start in, it has to work with whatever other things that are going on in the community, but it has to really be from the parent. It has to happen at home.
and not just at home, but like I said, it's time for us to go back to the basics, go back to the foundation. It takes a village to raise a child. The
Yes,
village has to be educated so that we can raise our children. So when it's time for them to vote, it is something that they're looking forward to do. It's not like, okay, I need you to go vote. No, I've been pruned and been prompt to do this for years. And so by the time I hit high school, I'm ready to go ahead and vote, and I'm just waiting for 18 to hit, and I'm going out there to
Yes.
vote. But it takes a whole village.
it
This is
takes a
why this
village.
is why
So,
we become the sum total of who we hang around with.
mhm.
We have to have enough voices in our head and in our ears about voting right. And this is why they're trying to take the vote, because they know the vote is powerful. And
Yes,
so
it is.
that has to begin not just in personal and family homes, but the whole village. Everybody should be talking, just like we talk about COVID, just like we talk about masks and vaccines. The
Yeah.
whole village ought to be talking about voting.
Well,
Absolutely.
to kind of go back to the 1965 Voting Rights Act, what happened in 2013 was there was a case, Shelby County versus Holder, Eric Holder, who was in charge then. And so what they did was they filed a case to Shelby County and said, okay, we as the southern states, because the 1965 Voting Rights Act made southern states, or states, it wasn't just southern, because I've actually drawn some graphs and I see where what's happened. Not only were their southern states responsible for discriminating against people of classes in race, to discourage them from voting, but it was also some other northern, and California and Arizona, believe it or not. There were some counties there. So what the Shelby versus Holder 2013 decision by the Supreme Court of the United States of America, that decision was upheld to say, okay, no, those states don't have to go to the United States government to confirm that they're okay with any decisions that they're making in their voting, right? Because those things just don't happen anymore. We're beyond that. Okay. So, in educating young people to know that, look, you have to understand what is required for voting now, right? So, IDs are going to be required. You're going to have to make sure you have an address. How many young people really keep an address? Some are in school, some are away to college. What are you going to do now that there are requirements that are no longer, that are actually being enforced by the particular states, to say, okay, we're going to put all of these different issues, and we're going to put all of these together to where now you can vote, but this is what you have to do to vote now. So the requirements change, is the point.
And that's what we call voter suppression.
That is voter suppression. That is voter suppression. And so to educate, to know, and what we're doing with the campaign, I'm just going to put a little plug here when it comes to the campaign. We're working to educate to the point to where people are aware to know what to do in order to vote. Make sure you get your voter registration done early. Make sure that you know where your polls are, right? That's a big one. If I'm going to vote, I'm 18. I might not know where the polls are. I know where the skating rink is, though. I know where to go. I know where the movie theater is, but I might not know where my poll is to go vote. So maybe it becomes a family thing. Maybe it becomes a community organization thing, right? To where that day of voting, the young people can get together and just maybe have an accountability to know where they need to go vote. They change polls all the time. They do that out here. That happened to me a few years ago, right? Poll changes, and they don't have to provide very much notice to let you know that your poll changed. So you used to vote over here, but now it changed, and I have to vote over. I walked to two different places, drove to two different places just to vote. Okay, so that's what happens when we're not educated on the voting part. All right, I do want to holler. All right, Brother Kareem Jackson. He says hello from the
Hello.
Philippines, beautiful people.
Hello.
Hello, Brother Kareem. Glad you were able to join. He also shares here, he says, we will launch our BKC Vote limited edition to educate them in a format young people enjoy. So that's for the young people. And Brother Kareem does have a magazine where it is online, and you can, also participate to have that delivered to you in your inbox so that you can
Awesome.
have it. But what he's saying is, is there a format? Is there a format? Sister Ms. Darielle Herring, is there a format that young people would enjoy and appreciate? What would that format be?
Well, I'm going to talk about what happens at my institution that gets people kind of on alert and ready to vote. We do have a campaign like on campus of like how we want to bring people together and inform them. We have forums about that. And then also one thing that we did have when it was time to vote, we plan a march to the polls. And so like that was really big and successful when we last voted. Marching to the polls, it kind of gives you a sense of empowerment, because guess what, our the people before us, our Black people before us, they had to go to the polls. And so it kind of just the marching to the polls, it just makes you feel like you're doing something important. And of course,
Which you are. Mhm.
yes, exactly. And then of course, incentives are thrown in too, with the whole campaigning, maybe t-shirts, buttons. We love t-shirts. We love t-shirts because you can do whatever with them,
Most
sleeping in
definitely.
them, work out in them, and simple things like that. And so I think that I'm grateful for my institution that highlights the importance of voting. And I'm not sure how it is anywhere else, but I think that plays a big part in it too, wherever you attend. If you're in school, your institution knowing the importance of voting. My institution is very prominent on that because I go to an HBCU. And so the fact that we do know the history of, the right voting rights and stuff like that, it hits a little deeper. And so I'm very grateful for that. I don't know how it is anywhere else, but maybe we can make it a community thing. Maybe it starts in my institution, but we could take it to the streets, like take it to the surrounding cities and towns, marching to the polls, or getting, we had one year we had the vans, like we're doing whatever it takes to like get those numbers up. And so it just depends. We could it starts small, but we can expand it. It just
Mhm.
takes a will.
Mhm. Mhm.
And like when I ran for Congress, COVID was going on. So Darielle, my butter, she was helping with TikTok videos. And
TikTok,
young people watch TikTok. So she was
get with
wearing
the
the t-shirts and
times.
yep.
Well, I was
Yeah,
just getting ready
like
to say that. I was just getting ready to say we got to make voting fun.
Yes.
yes,
It needs
make
to
it
be
fun.
appealing to young people. So there's all different type of things. We even do a thing called verses. Everyone was doing verses
Oh
on
yes,
TV and with the R&B stars and the rap artists. But we did it about church. We did it about politics. So you got to be innovative and
I
creative and
like
make it
that.
fun. One of
Mhm.
the stigmas though is particularly as relates to Black people is that if you put it in the book, we won't read it.
Well, it's not just Black. Being an educator, I train top executives, and you can't get them for anyone to read anything.
Yeah.
I'm a professor, so
Right.
I already
Yeah. But
No
this is
one reads.
but this is why we
But I
got to
get
make it.
what you're saying.
This is why we got to make it fun, so it's
Mhm.
informative, and then they
Yes.
can catch it, and then be able to tell their friends
Yes.
about the importance of voting.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
not let's not limit it to just a book. Like, yes,
yeah,
being
exactly.
innovative, stepping outside of the box. You kind of have to, I feel like it's important to just kind of be up to date on the trends. I feel like that makes a difference. If you really want the young people's votes, you gotta stay connected to them, what they like and what they have going on. And so, like he said, like my mom said, TikToks, and I really like that verses. Like that was, I didn't even think about that. So
yeah.
I really like how innovative and exciting that is. It's really about getting, like I said before, getting to know your community, getting to know your crowd, the people around you. And when you get to know them truly, then you kind of see what works for them and what doesn't. Some people don't want to read. Some people are not good at reading. So, they kind of stray away from doing that because it kind of makes them feel self-conscious and so that's where you got to change it. And as a teacher, I'm going to school to be a teacher,
Awesome.
learning your students.
Yeah.
Some are kinesthetic learner. There's different kinds of learning, and so we got to cater to who we have around us. Like I would cater to one child this way, I have to cater to this one another way. That's why you just gotta remain connected. I feel like that is one of the most important things
Yes,
because we
that's
can
a big
definitely
one.
sense and sniff out somebody that's really not for us. That's just like I said, politics. We could tell it's just political. So I feel
Mhm.
like that's very important. I really like, TikTok. A lot of people love TikTok and that versus. I just can't get over that. I never would have thought about that, and I really like that.
Yes, Tanya Davis, strength in unified numbers. So, what you just talked about, community,
And I,
community in coming together. But I think too, on a consistent basis, that's really what marketing is all about. And I'm just gonna, dive into the business thought of it.
can I throw something in before
Sure,
you
go
go there?
ahead. Yeah.
So like I teach in Kansas, but I live in Missouri. And so I also teach American government at a high school on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And when I first went this semester, nobody likes American government. Nobody's parents vote. So I was like, this is going to be really interesting. But now I play American government cahoots with them.
Mhm.
So, they get involved and, when they think that they're not learning anything, they're learning and they look forward to it. And now they're getting their work done. They're working ahead and they're more excited. Well, what's going on here? I let them watch live things on CNN and other things just so they're not just bored and just talking and they're like, oh, I don't do that. I need a live class too because
Mhm.
you already know I'm a little hyper and excited. So I don't want to drag nothing out for nobody else. I want learning to be fun. And like Dario always
Yes.
says, reading is fundamental. It is, but people won't read. Sometimes the only reading people will do is you.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yes. You're
Mhm.
the book. How about that? You're the
Exactly.
book.
You're the book.
Mhm. You're the book, and that's kind of our way. Storytelling is part of our culture as African Americans, but I think in the other cultures too. Yes, you have the written word, but then you have the stories that have been told down through the generations. And that's what makes it exciting. If Big Mama, Paw, if Big Sis or Tom, Big Uncle or whatever is sharing, hey, this, remember this. And those stories, we can tell those stories over and over again, those that are at the family reunion. Well, why not tell a story where it does involve making a difference in voting? And making a difference in understanding the culture. Super. I got y'all. Yeah, yeah, you're on a roll here. I think another suggestion that Kareem Jackson was making, he says, we need to build more young entrepreneurs, and then the politics is a natural evolution for them. You think being an entrepreneur, he thinks being an entrepreneur naturally brings on the idea of voting.
I can
Hmm.
see that. I can see that because when you have a company, you kind of have to think for that company. So look at the United States or your town or city being that company. You're not doing what's just best for you, but you're doing what's best for everybody. And you're thinking about
Mm-hmm.
everybody rather than just yourself or just your people on the executive board. You got to think about your staff, your employees. You know, it's more than just the people at the top.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I went to a conference this weekend featured by the three top seminaries here in the greater Kansas City, Missouri area. Of course, my favorite is Nazarene Seminary. And of the three, that's the one that I'm, kind of familiar with and have worked with. But they featured a guest, a scholar, biblical scholar, Dr. Willie James Jennings, and he spoke and he just kind of reiterated and reaffirmed how communities are really going to be the way to bring people together, whether you are of one nationality or another. It's about the communities. And what's happened is that the communities have disseminated and there's no more community. And people aren't really coming together in community. Even in the neighborhoods of where we live, it's not really community, right? So the thought too to say, okay, well, the community is going to help to educate and to encourage voting. The entrepreneur is going to go to the different community events because he wants the people to buy their his goods or services. Community breeds entrepreneurship, breeds also being empowered and knowledgeable about what's going on in the community based on the political standing of the city hall. It's really about the community and the education of the community.
Sure.
I think that's where we are with this, guys. We can say it, but then let's talk through, and this is what we're doing, talking through to bring some knowledge of some resources, statistics to show, based on what we know of what's going on. Yeah.
And you remember when it was time for us to vote for my president, Obama?
Yes.
Yeah.
They had
President
all of
Obama.
the superstars talking about
exciting.
vote or die, right? It was
Mhm.
this big ordeal. You couldn't miss it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then after he got into the office, we didn't see their faces anymore.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this goes back to the village. If they're not coming into our cities, and who is continually talking about voting and voting rights? Now, we're grateful that they did. They helped us get Obama into office two terms, but after that,
Right.
Yeah. Brother Obama,
Like,
what
where
did
are
you
they?
do? Yeah. What did
That's
you do?
real.
You brought in okay. There was a couple of things, but and then yes, the disappearing of what was done, you got voted in, but then were you really for the community that helped vote you in?
Sure,
Right.
absolutely.
Did you
And that's
really
why when
believe
people ask me, are you going to talk about policies? Before I start talking about policies and everything else, I want to do my research. I like to assess the different communities because Missouri is large. It has its city, it has its suburbs, it has the rural areas. So
Mhm.
you got a little bit of everything. You got to look out for everybody. So I'm not just going to sit and just start running my mouth without having facts and details and without looking at your different counties and, I just need to know what's going on. I need to assess everything before I say this, that, or the other. Also, I want your input. Talk
Yes, I
to
want
me
to
because
know
I want
what's
to look
going
into
on in your area, right?
right because I don't
I
have
want your
all the
input.
answers. So
Mhm.
it's going to take everybody. So just because a person is elected, it doesn't mean they know everything. You need to do your part and communicate with them as well and tell what you need for your
Mhm.
community. And again,
Yep.
like we talked about before, the census every 10 years.
Mhm.
Fill that out. We need that information so we can best represent you. But one
Believe
thing
it or
you will not
not,
get
that's
me
a
is a
vote.
phony person. I'm
Say
just
that
gonna be
again,
real. I
sis.
said from me, you will not get a phony person because I'm all about people. So I don't have no other agenda. If it wasn't for trying to make change right now and try to help, I wouldn't even be doing this at all.
Mhm. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and share this. Jamie Johnson, she says, I believe our communities are only as successful as our young people. They need to be involved and empowered to lead in every sector.
That's that impartation. Exactly, Jamie Johnson.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Exactly.
That to be empowered with the communities. Now, I'm just going to kind of give an overview here. There are three major communities in the state of Missouri, right? You have the greater Kansas City, you have the greater St. Louis, and then you have the greater Springfield, the southern communities. So, and they're very diverse. They're very diverse. But I think what when you're looking at the southern community, the Springfield community, the greater Springfield community, uh, you can say that they're probably predominantly European American with the European American and rural values. Okay, but to know too, Dr. Ross, that you are for the people of Missouri.
Exactly. No matter
it,
what party.
no matter what party you're dealing with, you're for the people of Missouri. And I think what I heard you say is that you educate yourself about what's going on in that area. You ask them, you research what's happening so that I know what is of an interest to you, and then you can take it away and vote and support what's in an interest of that community as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, uh, definitely the young people there. We do have an influence, or we have uh, some young people that are working in the St. Louis area, which is great. Of course, we have some young people working here in the greater Kansas City area. But we want to give a shout out too for any young people group that it works in the southern Missouri, the Springfield area. Come and participate with us. Help us to volunteer, pick it up, because your ideas matter. They do matter.
Also, where I live in Platte County. Now, most of y'all had me as your teacher. So come on, Platte County.
That county.
You helped me with District 6 during the Congress primary. Platte County showed up for me, so I appreciate Platte County. I appreciate every cow, every horse, every peacock. Yep.
Because you are concerned about the people of Missouri.
Yes,
right?
we have farmers, the farmer, the baker, the candlestick maker, everybody. There's something for everybody. Can't leave nobody out.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, so I'm really a city girl, but I like the country. I think it's just in my DNA though. From my dad's roots. Down in Mississippi.
Country is cool, isn't it? I think it is too. I think so too. All right.
And I'm a people person. Y'all know I love people.
Mm-hmm. Kareem says, and them entrepreneurs and companies. So he's back on it. The entrepreneurs and companies will tell their employees about politics and even sponsor politicians. Well, that's a big one. Companies, can companies donate to candidates?
Absolutely.
Yeah. When it comes to donations, now that we're on this and we just kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit, when it comes to donations, individuals can donate up to $2,500. So you can send a donation through we do have information we can send out at Blue, Act Blue, and we'll get that going here. But that is where you can donate. Now you can donate up to $2,500. Okay, companies they can donate that limit too. It's not like that company can just we're just going to give them $1 million even though we can. And that's something that is a concern of other candidates or candidates in the political process, in that you'll have people with big money backing them, right? Some of these candidates that don't speak for all people.
Yep.
And some of these candidates that are just going to say whatever they think you want to hear just to get your vote. That's what we know is going on. That's politics, live politics.
Politics.
So that's what we know, right? Well, this candidate, Dr. Gina Ross, you can contribute, but no dollar is too small when it comes to donations because every dollar counts and it becomes the community. If I send my dollar, $5, I tell you, you go out there and you're just getting a burger, it's $10, right?
Dollars.
$10 for a meal.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not even healthy for you, right? So if you $10 and then go to the grocery store and maybe pick up a salad that's going to be healthier, or go spend the $10 for actually some nice short ribs, you can get that. And cook them yourself is the point. But sometimes it's about the sacrifice. It's about to say, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to support and donate to this cause here because I know that my money is the vote for.
But some people want to know where's their money going.
Yeah, well,
I was getting ready to say that. I was going to say we have to make sure that we are investing in our own community.
Did you say that, Pastor G?
Absolutely.
Wowzer! So we shouldn't let somebody else fix it. Let someone else that doesn't know, that doesn't have our interest, that has nothing, it has no concern about our culture or anything. And I'm saying culture of certain people. You have the African American, even the Spanish community. You have different communities, Southern, rural communities. Let someone that doesn't really give a hoot about us, right? Support what we're doing. Well, you hit it.
But that's what happens, and they'll come to our communities, and then because we're so money hungry, we'll accept it, but we don't realize that it's camouflage deception, and they're trying to control that money with what they want to happen, and so this is where we are. And I wish there was a day that would come quickly where we can leave the politics to the side and really help people who really need help.
That's right. That's right. Because people need help. People are struggling.
Yeah.
And that's why people are like, why should I vote for you? You're not going to help me. People need affordable housing. People need, affordable childcare, affordable education. Public schools need adequate funding,
And new textbooks.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Nobody should be left out. Like I said, there's something for everybody. You just need to allocate and make sure that each county, each area, their needs are met.
For sure.
By any means possible, because it's not right. I don't think there should be that many homeless people just laying up on the street, especially in the wintertime. Why are we building new things? And what happened to love thy neighbor and help thy neighbor? We need more mental health places and stop locking people up in prison and, help them get rehabilitated when they get out, before they get out. So to prevent recidivism, so they don't go back again.
Go back and do
we
it
need
again.
a lot of urban programs, initiatives, family initiatives. We try to keep family together. One thing I don't like about the system either is how they say when a woman will go apply for welfare, I don't know what they call it now, but they always want to make sure the man is out of the house. Why are you?
Yeah, well, that's always been. You remember that movie?
That's what I'm saying. That needs to be done with. That needs to be done. That needs to be done.
Was a back in the day movie, and that told the truth about really what happened, and really what was when it comes to welfare. You have more European Americans that are on the system in order to kind of use it as an opportunity to do better than you do African Americans. Okay, but you only see, but even with that system in itself was set up so that, okay, here's another way to tear down the community, to tear down the family structure, because that's what the community is all about. It's the family structure. We need strong Black brothers. We need strong men. No matter what nationality or ethnicity you are, you need that strong male role model in that community. And then, of course, you need the nurture of the family unit, the mother, etc., and everything. Now, I'm just going to go ahead. Let's see. Let's do this here. Okay. Jamie, Andy, Bogard, Donovan, Griffith.
I know who Andy Bogart is.
Okay. Dr. Gina Ross needs support in the Springfield, Missouri
Yes, I do.
area for her campaign. Hello.
That's right. And he's over the evangelism campus department, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Andy, Bogart, Donovan, Griffith. This shout out is to you because we know, someone knows that you are capable and able of making that announcement, making that known that the campaign is happening, and Dr. Gina Ross is here in Missouri to make a difference, to make change, and that you can support in the Springfield, Missouri area.
The Lord be my help.
All right, you know.
Some people don't like that. They don't want you to mention God, but I'm not going to apologize.
Oh,
God
did you
is my
say
help.
it?
He is my strength.
All right now, that's what it's all about. The Lord, come on. And there's no secret in that. See, there's another thing. When it comes to community, you want to take the headship of that community out of the community too, which the headship really is him, the God of creation is the headship.
Like you want to say something, Pastor G. I see you.
I was listening.
Hold it.
Listen, this is great conversation. I do want to echo and revisit the conversation of and brought it to the table of the male vote. In all elections, especially as to date, especially when it came to Obama, especially as it came to Joe Biden, it was always the minority Black women to push the vote. And I love our sisters. I love y'all. But I think we need to have that. It needs to be balanced. Where are the men at?
Yeah.
True.
How come every time it's time to make a major decision in the country, we thank God for, our Black sisters and those who are in the minority, but where are the men at? And so we got to be able to educate our men. And some say, well, they're locked up. They can't vote.
Well, 1 in 3. 1 in 3 are. Okay. Yeah. That's pretty significant.
Yeah.
But the other 2, and don't let, I think that what they do, we had the bystander let someone else make the decision for us. But to speak up, like what you do in your home and in your community, to speak up for what's right. And it's okay. I think that we do a lot of cheering. We do a lot of sports cheering. Yeah, and I think
it's the Chiefs playing or whatever your favorite football team is.
Go ahead and vote like it's
take it to the poll.
Take it to the poll and vote.
And in those sports arenas, we don't have a shortage of men. There's all types of men.
All types. They come out from everywhere.
Right? So we got to be there, and even if we got to set up at the game.
Yeah, shout out to all baseball, those that like sports, all of the sporting events. Big shout out to all those men who vote, men who attend. Now, all we need 3 stadiums of men who attend.
Right.
Because 75,000, about 75, 4 stadiums, 75,000 men in the stadium. You got 4 stadiums. All right, see that, and it doesn't take much to overcome and win the vote, guys. Don't think that your vote doesn't count. People, it does. It doesn't take, she doesn't need a lot of votes. The system and the process makes it think that you do need a lot of votes.
But what would help
that big money.
What would help is some people just check the first name on the ballot. But I'm number 3 on the ballot. So
oh my goodness. Yes, share that with us, Dr. Ross.
Number 3.
You're
Number
gonna
three.
number three. She's number three on the ballot. So if you go in and you're
The
tired
first
after doing
female
your
name.
quiz,
So
you
hey.
got off from work, just know that the top three look for. You don't have to look down all in it. Just look at the top three. You'll
No,
see
because let me
Dr.
tell you something. When I ran for Congress, one of the ladies that was running, she dropped out of the race, but her name was still on the ballot. So even though she wasn't running, she defeated the men. So she was in second after me. I had first place, but she wasn't even running. She didn't do nothing. And if I wasn't running, she would have had that.
Wow.
Okay, I
She would
want
have
to tell
had
you
it.
something else. Okay, so and Dr. Gina's not going to give up. She's going to hang in there to the end, and she's going
How long
primary.
is she
She's
with the
going general.
NCAA?
She's going to run this thing, and she's going to the United States Senate. Okay,
Get
just
the
to
Lord.
know. Now, another thing about voting in the state of Missouri, whether you are a registered Democrat or a Republican, it does not matter. It will not matter on August the 2nd. You walk up to the table and you ask them for the ballot, which she's running on the Democratic ballot. Why? And it's not a big deal because she's the better candidate for all people. She is the candidate of change that will speak and will be truthful to all the people here in the state of Missouri. So you ask for that Democratic ballot, even though you may be a registered Republican,
Or
and
independent.
or independent,
Doesn't matter.
registered as an independent. It won't matter. Now it doesn't matter. Now in the future, they're changing it. They're trying to change that style of voting. Right now it's open voting. But now they're trying to close it for this very reason. Okay. So just know that your candidate is three on third on that list. That's big. That's huge.
Yep, I
All
was number 3 in 2019 when I ran for school board. I was number 3 on the ballot when I ran for U.S. Congress, and number 3 for U.S. Senate. I said, "There's something about that 3. I believe in
all
the
right.
Trinity."
Well, come
Yeah,
on.
don't
Yeah.
get me started.
Well, see, I believe I'm oneness. I'm oneness. I know who he is, but Hero Israel, the Lord our God is one, huh? So I got you. I understand. But yes, many of the men, this is Jamie Johnson. She's sharing many of the men on my timeline don't think voting is important. We need to change the narrative about voting. All
And that's
right.
probably because they're not informed.
All
The
right.
information.
Not informed.
Definitely.
I'm going to go ahead and share the website here. So we'll share the website. And here is where you probably see a little bit already. But the donate button, you go out to this website here. It is Ross4USSenate.com. That's ROSSFORUS Senate.com. You go out there and you'll see what's going on with the campaign. You can subscribe to get updates. You can also ask to volunteer.
You
Now, if
sure
all
can.
you have time for, you just have 1 week between now and when it's time to go vote. Give us the 1 week. Give Dr. Gina the 1 week. It doesn't matter. No time is too small to take and participate in volunteering for the campaign.
You
There
can
is
volunteer and help me with the website because I do the best I can.
it looks
I
great.
try.
I think it looks great. There is a big donate button, and that donate button, when you select it, it'll take you out to secure.act.blue.com/donate/Dr. Gina-Ross for U.S. Senate 1. When you get that far, honey, you'll see. And you can contribute. You can contribute, and no dollar amount is too small. Of course, we ask that you do your best. Do your best to share because it is important. What happens with the money? Well, believe it
Yard
or not,
signs,
we're talking about them t-shirts, y'all. We're
t-shirts,
talking about the
traveling to different
buttons.
counties.
We're talking about traveling, you know, we're talking about doing those things. Thank you, Jamie, for posting
Thank
the
you.
website address in the chat as well. All right, so you got that. And that's what's happening, y'all. When it comes to voting, it is our right as American citizens. There are people around the world that do not have that right. They are already established in a country that says they're going to be they're going to just put who they want to in the decision making areas of politics. But here you get a chance to make a choice that does matter, believe it or not. And when you think about it, take advantage of it. Take advantage of it because we have the right to vote now. We want to continue in and be grateful. I think if God gives me something, an opportunity, I'm going to take advantage of. That says thank you.
Yes.
That's saying thank you, Lord. Now I'm showing my who I am. Come on, let's lift him up now. Well, let's get a praise break on this, huh?
I love it.
I'm very capable, as you all know. Praise is what I do.
I love it.
All right, all right. Well,
And I'm not ashamed. So
I know
I
I'm
just
not
want
ashamed.
everybody to know that's just who I am. I'm alive today because of God. So I'm
Mm-hmm,
not ashamed.
mm-hmm.
And I respect people for whatever you do, whatever you believe, but respect me. I'm a God fearing woman.
All right
That's my
now.
right.
All
That's my
right.
First
Okay.
Amendment. And I'm not gonna let no one take my First Amendment away from me.
Come
I'm gonna
on.
speak on it.
They're trying. It's coming.
Well,
They're
I
they're
will
those
definitely
votes
try
are
to get
coming down. They're if they can take away and say, hey, we don't have that problem now, they can do a lot. And they're already in place to do it. We need to vote. Miss Darielle
Yes, ma'am.
Aaron, what are your last wrapping it up? What would you like to share?
Well, I would like to thank you all for having me on here this evening. It's been a joy to hear your guys' thought process. I would just like to say, go out and vote, and please don't wait until November. You know, the big elections, the
August.
local
Yeah.
ones, they really do matter because those are the people that are going to work within your community, your local community, and that's where it starts first in your community.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much
my
for
lovely daughter.
participating. Yeah.
Thank you for your time because I know you're busy.
Mhm. Pastor G, what would you like to say to wrap things up?
And he designed the flyer for this.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Flex
Okay.
your vote.
Wonderful flyer. It was great.
There's a couple of things that we need to finish up. One of the things that we started to talk about is knowing where to vote. I think that's
Mm.
The
important.
polls.
We need to find out when the deadline is, know what deadline is in your particular county, when it is over. And as you said, Ann, earlier, sometimes they will move the whole location and you have your mind going to one place and it's been moved. So you want to make sure that you are knowledgeable about your location. And then last thing I would say is make sure you have your ID and all your information because they will turn you away. And also know what time the polling is closed. Are you going to vote by mail? Or are you going to go in person? And so there's a lot of things that we need to know. At the end of the day, please hear me. Vote your
Mm.
conscience.
Mm.
Vote your conscience. Make sure that your vote is your conviction and that you're not doing it just because you have nothing else to do. But make sure you're voting because your vote matters. And
Mm.
don't let
Yes, it does.
anybody tell you that it doesn't because it does.
All
Yes, it
right.
does.
Amen.
All right.
Hey,
Doc,
Sister
you want to say
Jamie.
something to wrap it up?
I just want to thank you all for your time volunteering. Thank you for everyone that watched. Whoever gave, thank you in advance. And I'm just thankful. I'm just grateful. I'm a peculiar, unique person, but I am truly authentic. Like I said, people are my priority. Democracy first. You know, we need change, and that's the reason why I'm running, just to be that change. And my win doesn't have to look like anybody else's win. So that's all I gotta say
All
on this
right.
evening, and just thank you. Thank you very
Sounds
much.
good. Sounds
Mm.
good. Thank you. Ross for U.S. Senate 2022 campaign. We just presented Flex Your Vote
Flex your
live. open forum. And we'll just reinforce that. We'll just say, go vote. Go vote. We'll see you next time.
Have a good night, everybody.
I got
Bye,
it.
Sister Jane. See y'all.
When I'm walking.
I'm Dr. Gina Ross, and I'm running for U.S. Senate for the state of Missouri. I'm good trouble because people are my first priority. I will stay true to all people as I stay true to myself. I'm unbossed, unbought, and unbiased, paving the way for change. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or go to my website, Ross4USSenate.com. We're better together, building a better tomorrow beginning today. Business as usual is no longer acceptable, and feel free to make a contribution. No dollar amount is too small. Thank you very much.
Dare to be you, dare to be me, and dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. I am beautiful, I am blessed, but not just what you see in the flesh. I'm free from people, free from myself. There's a liberty in